beneath the surface.
NACN.
Beneath the surface.
Hi, my name is Anna Rainey. I'm going to be reporting on the high-rise flats in Rathcoole. Today I'm joined by Stafford Ward, a community worker, and I'm going to be finding out about his views about this issue.
Hello Anna, how are you?
Hi.
Good.
So what's your knowledge on the flats and how do you feel they complement the local community of Rathcoole?
Well, they're an icon, and they've always been an icon for the Rathcoole area. People can find the area, you can look across from Hollywood and you can see the 4 flats. You can make your way through the motorway, different places, you know exactly, you can actually see them on the motorway as well. Now, to take down those flats will be a loss to the community on many occasions, because what would happen is that they would, if they took the flats down, they have nowhere to put the people. People think that they're going to get housed and rehoused as quick as possible in Rathcoole, but that's not going to happen. That's going to happen in various areas of Newton Abbey, because we have a list there of people who are looking for flats and accommodation, so they will be, yes, in amongst them, but big numbers.
Why do you think these flats are being demolished from such a largely overpopulated housing estate with very little housing, which some would say is on the brink of housing crisis?
Well, there's many of them. The idea that they're going to demolish this one here, the Rathcoole one, is because they've neglected it. 10 years ago we were at Stormont, and the community minister there was Paul Gordon, and at that meeting it was passed through Stormont that the flats would come down. We notified people, but there wasn't many turned up at it. Now that the flat has become dilapidated, it has been now full of birds and everything else, it would be too expensive for that most school to be renovated. It would cost too much. All the rest of the flats, the 3 flats I would like to keep. If new lifts which takes you to every floor rather than going on and leaving. They have, it's clean, they're well looked after. The only problem with it, again, is costing 1.1 million to maintain those flats. Now they do have a Category 7, that's going to be very expensive for the people in those flats for to heat them. Again, the flats, I would like them to stay as long as everybody else and all the rest of the groups put their heads together and come up with solutions, rather than just fanning about, we're going to do this, we're going to protest here. We need to have solutions.
In your own words, what do you feel could be done right now to better support residents who are in the remaining 3 blocks that are also marked to be demolished?
Well, there's probably a lot of ideas running about there, and probably an idea would be those people that are in those flats, the people who are on housing executive ones, they're going to be reimbursed with X amount of money, say £8,000 or whatever it is, okay? And so is the people who own flats, plus they're going to get theirs bought off them, and they're going to be allocated, so they're not actually losing a home, only a block of flats. Now, the idea would be, and it's only an idea, that all those £8,000 for how many people are in the 3 blocks, if those people didn't take the money, and the housing executive bought back the flats that the people owned, and kept the people in there as residents, and had solicitors in and involved that would have to be at a big level, to allow those people to live in those flats and pay rent. A lot of people would say no, but the idea is, these are your homes. These are your homes that we're trying to save. We have to go in with the solutions and say yes, no, or let's sit down and work it together. If you keep saying no, the blocks are going to come down. Nah, the blocks are going to come down in a multiple of years. It's going to come down. The next one is Abbotspool. it'll come down in about 3 or 4 years' time. The rest is going to take 10, 20 years to come down. We need our people to work together, councillors, MLAs, and everybody that we can get involved to save the last 3 blocks.
It is estimated that it would cost $1 million to demolish just one tower block and $1.5 million to refurbish one tower block. Do you feel there is a better solution out there that could be utilised to secure these flats?
Well, the solution that I've just given you is, it's not a solution, it's, you know, is for buy back the flats that they've sold, and everybody to start. That would bring an income in to allow the flats to be maintained. The 1.1 million you're saying is coming to demolish, okay? That is the housing sector recuperating all their money. The argument is, when all the people in the estate got all their money wasn't put back into the estate. It went to various other developments in other areas. So therefore, we should have been in from the beginning and said to people, listen, where is our money going to go to if we're going to buy houses? We weren't told that, because we didn't ask.
What barriers do you think people have faced when looking for answers to why these flats are being demolished?
Well, there's many barriers. The barriers is that the people who are giving them false information is creating a big barrier, because it creates a situation where people start to scaremongering amongst each other. Oh, they're doing this and they're doing that, they're going to do this. Too many stories. As I said, the people in the flats, it's their problem. It's ours as well, don't be under any illusion in that way. It's their problem, but the solutions is within those flats, in those councillors, in those people who want to help them. Not people who want to screw them over and turn around and say, listen, forget about the flats, they're coming down anyway, I don't care. It's not about that. It's about looking after people's homes and also communities, because therefore you're going to be families, you're going to be breaking up families, you're going to be breaking up communities. So there's no community based in there now, because the situation is that everybody's now panicking. Somebody has to go in and sit down and say, listen, solicitors, lawyers, whoever, MLAs who are going to go in and tell these people the truth and get a solution from within the flats and the people who've got all the knowledge.
What repercussion do you think may happen if these flats are demolished without the support of the community behind it?
There won't be a community. The community's already been devastated over the years with the amount of flats that have been brought down. But, you know, it's come to a stage now where Icon has been involved in it, where they belong to us, they belong to the state, because they're part of our history and the building of those. I mean, what people could have done and what they can do is they can do what I've done. They can go to the university, the Newton University, and there's a professor there called Alistair Adair, and he's a tar black. He is a tar black. He's a superman. He knows all the knowledge because he's involved in all the ones in England and all the ones here. There's not only those 4 flats there, there's 30 flats involved altogether. Now, all you have to do is ask for a Freedom of Information Act to him, and he will send you all the information that you need. It's about people working together and not somebody picking a bit out of the air here and picking a bit out of the air. It all has to come back from a jigsaw puzzle to one thing, where everybody can see it in front of them.
It's a domino effect once they pull these flats down. If it happens, what community do you feel will be targeted next, and what support do you think they will receive from their councillors, MLAs and community groups?
Well, again, you see, the problem is here that they're going to pull one flat down and they're going to put X amount of houses there, development houses. The same is down below here at Newton School. You know, community has been destroyed. 2 schools, Rathcoole, Newton. It's been destroyed, and it's being destroyed because it's too big of an area, and it's, if you want to go, too much Protestant people living in it. That it has to be a form of an ethnic cleansing, is it? Or a form of moving out to allow other people to move in, to mix the area. But but in the stipulation of the housing executive, who won't be here in about another 15 years, because again the associations will be taking over the housing executive, because they're going to go bankrupt. Because the income that they took over the years with people buying their houses has been used in other places. So they can't put anything back that they haven't got.
What government body do you think is solely accountable for the destruction of these flats? For example, Rathcoole, NIHA, Department of Humanities and Westminster, etc.
All of them, including Stormont. And the reason I'd be all annoyed about it is because during the COVID thing, nobody sat for over a year and a half why those flats were being talked about being demolished. The people were lost, there's nobody to turn to. There's no means to go to help and support them. So therefore, everybody's at fault. Community workers, everybody who hasn't had an input into those flats.
And finally, you mentioned about getting a net thrown over the roof of Rathcoole House to stop the birds getting in. Do you not think this would cause a level of concern amongst residents, considering a net is used during demolition of flats?
Well, the simple reason is that you're going to put it over the roof on the first and second floor. The windows have been left open, the roof has been as damaged as you know, and there's over maybe possibly 800 birds in there. Now, they're not really as environmental health. If you contact the environmental health, the environmental will tell you that this is a major problem, not only for those flats, but for the cars and the people and everybody in around it. If you've got asthma or you've got any sort of an illness, that will affect you with the birds as well. Now, I wasn't going to stick my neck out and say, listen, we're going to put a net over that and the next day you can put it down. I'm a community worker, I've got to live in the area. So when the contractor came and the environmental health, we put it out there. We put it out for the safety of the people, not for to pull down the flat. We put it out that people could understand it's an environmental health, but they'll find out in a matter of maybe time to come that they'll fall in with illnesses and everything because of their asthmatic and everything else. The birds crap and everything else down on their cars and how many times they wash their cars. It's not a funny, it's just that it had to be done for environmental health and it wasn't done.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak.
You're welcome. Thank you.
NACN. Beneath the surface.